Cheers to adulting.
I'm Ashley Butterhuss.
And I'm Abby Rosemarin.
And this is Cheers to Adulting.
Damn right it is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, giggity giggity.
Oh, excuse me. You know what? Whatever. I'm going to do me.
YOLO.
So, today's episode is brought to you by a goodie. An oldie but a goodie.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just need an old-fashioned.
But it's not an old-fashioned. It's a gin and tonic.
Right? Sipping on gin and tonic.
If anyone knows what the juice part of Snoop Dogg's gin and juice is, please let us know.
We would really appreciate it because we're white and ignorant.
Well, one of us.
True.
Is half of that.
But full ignorance.
Yes. All right, so today we're going to be Yep. Yeah.
The words are already hard and we just started.
A few drinks and it's gonna. We haven't seen each other in a while.
Yeah.
So okay. So we're gonna be discussing cooking. Whether you're good at it, you're shit at it, you're okay at it, or you're a person that you take out as your jam. We've got some fun and useful tips for everyone. So yeah, it's been a while since we last recorded because the fucking summer.
All right.
I went on vacation.
And then I went on it like right as you came back.
Exactly. So I went home to Tejas, the motherland.
Amen. And I went to Vegas, San Diego, and LA.
Yeah.
So
how was it? Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun. I am probably the only human being who was like, I can't wait to go to Las Vegas and Los Angeles to hike.
I mean, the last time I went to Vegas, it was for rock climbing.
Amen. Was it Red Rock Canyon by any chance?
It was Red Rock.
Fuck yeah, that's where we went. It was beautiful. We had to do our hikes at like basically 7 a.m. because it was getting to like 115 degrees in Vegas. I mean, but it helped because like our jet lag really helped. Because we were on East Coast time, so we're waking up at like 4 a.m. because we're like, oh, it's like 7 in real time. So we're like, all right, let's just go hiking before we broil and bake.
We went at the beginning of March to Red Rocks, and it snowed up there at Red Rocks. Yeah, Pat was there. It snowed, and I was like, I definitely packed for Vegas, did not pack for this.
Yeah, I feel like snowing in Vegas, you got to be really careful because that whole like, when it snows in hell and what have you. Like, I mean, that's basically when it snows in Sin City, like, watch the fuck out.
Yup. Like, adulting and non-adulting of the week. I'll go ahead and start.
Go right ahead.
So, I am on the adulting struggle right now. So, this past Saturday, I spent the entire day. I went up Friday night. They picked me up on their boat from my workplace. Fortunately, I got permission to get picked up from one of their docks. And spent the whole day Saturday there. It was such a blast. But then again, I was way too excited about one, having the day off. I had just worked 6 days straight. 2, being in sun and in water, and also like being half naked, which is like my jam. If I could be all naked, then we're good. Because of all this overexcitement, I was not diligent or did not put on sunscreen until it was too late. So my thighs got burned to shit, and then up on my upper chest. It's not fun. I don't usually burn. So I have a lot of sympathy now for white people.
For us gringos.
Or just people who burn in general. Like my mother, she burns and then she tans. Because that's the German-British half of her. So yeah, much sympathy to you, my poor Abby, your skin.
My poor Irish skin.
And it's like, the thing is that it's so funny. I forgot who I was talking with. I think it was when I was down in Texas that they're like, oh, I never put on sunscreen or whatever because I don't burn. The thing is, y'all, it doesn't matter if you burn or not, whether you have a lot of melanin or don't have a lot of melanin. It's important to put on sunscreen so that you don't get skin cancer. It doesn't matter what color your skin is, you can still get skin cancer.
Yep.
But needless to say, I was not diligent about it because I jumped in the water and I figured I'd jump in real quick and then jump out and put on sunscreen. That didn't happen. Some more struggles. My bathroom and other areas of the house are a fucking mess because of me. But I also clocked out with 54 hours on Sunday.
Ooh, yeah, ooh.
And today I was off and I should have stayed home and done some cleaning and stuff like that. I did a little bit of cleaning after doing research for the podcast. But I want to do a lot more. I'm fingers crossed I wake up early tomorrow and do some cleaning. We'll see how the night goes. But if anything, I'm off on Friday and I can spend that day cleaning. What about you, Abby?
Well, that I'm in the same boat. The struggle bus has been real, and actually, my struggle bus is also about the sunscreen, because I was hanging out in Southern California. I was hanging out in Las Vegas, and
no big deal.
NBD, y'all, humble brag, hashtag. But, those are closer to the equator. The sun's a lot stronger than it is up in New Hampshire. There's
By a lot.
By a lot. There's a reason why us folks whose heritage is by, England and Ireland, like myself, or, pasty white fucks, and the closer you...
Pasty white fucks. That's the official term.
Right? I love that. It's good. PWF, pasty white fucks.
Yes.
And the closer you get to the equator, the more the tanner the people get. And so the first week we were in the area. So this was a 2-week vacation, spoiled rotten. I was militant about it. I had SPF 100, I kid you not, and I was putting it on.
Do they make SPF 100?
They legit do. Neutrogena, they are my jam, and I'm not even getting paid by Neutrogena to say it, but I fucking should, because their stuff really is good. And I would every day and twice a day, it was I was going to war, everywhere, nothing got missed. And first week, super diligent. Second week, it was okay, I'm getting a little tired of this, but it's okay, because I've been out in the sun, I've been hiking, I've been going to the beach, I've been in the sun, and specifically this sun for a week now. I have a base tan. I'm gonna be fine. It's okay if I'm a little more haphazard. No, it's not.
No.
The worst part is I was getting these sunburns around where my bathing suit was, because I wasn't really thinking about it. So now I have these inch frames of where my bathing suits were, and I had to change up which bathing suits I was wearing, because I'm I've got certain sunburns in certain areas. I've got a cleavage burn right now, so I have to be done with the cleavage bathing suit. I have to wear the one that goes across the boobs.
That's what I did. Yep, that was my day today. Had to wear one across the boobs.
All right, so I gotta protect the tatas. And that was just kind of my life when I was going when I was in on vacation. And then when I got home, the struggle continued to be real, because let's be real, when you're on vacation, you're done adulting. You're I'm going to bed whenever I want, I wake up whenever I want, I'm gonna just go out to eat, I don't even do laundry. And then you get home and it's guess what you get to do? All the adulting, plus all the adulting you didn't do for the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
So I've been trying to do catch up, which includes
Not mustard?
No mustard. I'll talk about mustard later on in the podcast, but not mustard for my catch up. But that included, and here we go, little self-plugging. We
love plugging.
I know, we plug all the time.
Big fans of it.
Self-plugging, plugging of other people.
Yeah,
we're just
you
down
do
with
you.
it. Live and let live, y'all.
Yep.
In the middle of vacation, I found out that Audible greenlit the audiobook for... Yay! For In the Event the Flower Girl Explodes. And which was really exciting, because it was honestly in review for a month. It was ridiculous. And they sent it back to me over a little thing about the cover art. And it was getting to be quite a to-do. And in the middle of vacation, literally 2 days after my wedding anniversary, they're congratulations! Audible has greenlit your audiobook, and it's going to be on Amazon and iTunes soon. And I'm I have none of my marketing shit. I don't have my laptop with me. Like, the best I can do is just be like, hi guys on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, you should buy my audiobook, yay. Like, that was the best I could do. Like, I'm screenshotting off of my iPad and like hoping for the best. And so yeah, there's been a lot of kind of catch up, and in some ways, I know and not the mustard, but in some ways, I am going to applaud myself because I had the opportunity to go to the beach because this one over here invited me, and I was legit doing math as she was like,
"Do you want to go to the beach? Well, I have this time to get to work, and then I have these many hours. I could probably fit in an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at the beach."
So no lie, there's probably a text about a screen long that, because I'm on my summer schedule right now and a lot of my classes are just off, which kind of sucks from a money standpoint, but from a free time standpoint, it's awesome. And on Tuesdays right now, I only have one morning class that gets out around 10:30, 10:45, and then after cleanup, I'm usually out of the studio by 11, and then I have another one at 5:30, but I have to be at the studio at 5, and I am legit like, I'm working it out in the text. I'm like, okay, so I get out by 11, and it takes an hour to get there, but 2 hours back with rush hour. And
like be willing to drive 2 hours to be at the beach for like 2 hours.
I used to do that for like fucking modeling auditions. Like, I mean, I burned out from that real quick and I don't do it anymore. But I would drive down to Boston like the hour plus and then drive back sometimes with rush hour to be at an audition for like 5 fucking minutes. And to me, I don't care. Like, put something good on, put on a good podcast, put on good music. I love to drive anyways, as long as it's not the rush hour. The rush hour is the shit part. But if it's open highway, like I will drive 2 hours to do a 1 hour hike. Like, that's kind of the person I am. But I was legit working it out and I'm like, oh, I could do like 3 hours on the beach. And I was like, no, I really can't. I need to do ketchup. I need to do mustard. I need to do relish. I need to do fucking mayonnaise. And I really do need to stay home and get shit done, which actually included finalizing the research for this podcast. So you know what? I'm going to pat myself on my slightly sunburned back because adulting, wow, that would hurt so bad. Actually, it's not really on my back. The funniest thing is I got my upper back like really well, like upper back and shoulders like a rock star. But I have this like sunburn along my mid back, like that awkward area that's hard to get.
My triceps are kind of burned.
Ooh, that's a tough one because like who thinks about that? Oh, let me get the tricep. You just think, oh, I'm just gonna get my arms, blah blah blah. But yeah, that was my adulting struggle bus / doing well.
For all that can't see or can't hear, my boyfriend Michael just kind of pointed to his nipples, as one does. He would not be my boyfriend if he didn't do that.
Right? I would expect nothing less.
All right, so that's our adulting. I guess we should, talk about cooking stuff. Bullshit.
Right, let's talk about some cooking bullshit.
Do you want to start or would you like me to start?
You know what? Let's start with the let's start with like Hellofresh and what have you. Like,
all right.
Let's kick off the gate with other people like giving us ingredients and stuff. Hellofresh and other ready-to-cook meals, and this is me again saying we're not getting paid by Hellofresh, but at this point we really should be getting paid by Hellofresh,
right?
Because like the number
of you guys,
like but no, not fuck you guys, like pay us, unless this is like a Goodfellas, like fuck you, pay me, like. But for real, the number of times we have sung their praises, the number of times we've eaten their HelloFresh meals, it's really awesome. And so for those who don't know, ready-to-cook meals, they send you all the ingredients. And it's pretty baller. So it's not just HelloFresh. Some of the other big guys, we got Blue Apron, we got Plated, we got Sunbasket. We've got
the Martha Stewart one.
There's a Martha Stewart one. I haven't either, and I actually just learned about her when I was like researching. I'm like, there's a lot out there, and they're roughly priced the same. Like when I was looking them up, like HelloFresh is $9.99 a serving for 2 people. Blue Apron is $9.99 for a serving for 2. God damn, those drinks are getting to me. Plated is a little more expensive. They're usually $11.99 for 2, but it drops down to $9.99 for 3. And so this is, the ingredients and the instructions are all just kind of sent to your house. And to me, like, that's a pretty badass thing. Like, you probably are spending a little bit more than if you just got those ingredients wholesale at a grocery store, but
Well, at the same time, not to like, interrupt you, when you want to make, so for example, the meal we made tonight, we made a orzetto, so it was kind of like risotto, but with like orzo. It was delicious. Abby made it. You have to buy lots of ingredients to make this dish. However, if you're buying it at the store, you're buying way more than you need to make this one dish. Like, anytime I want to make something, it's gonna come with more than you need. So it's either going to get wasted, or that's it. It's
like
gonna get wasted, or you're gonna have to figure some shit out.
Or like that is literally the only meal you make for the week. Like, you eat that. That's it. That's actually how my husband is. Like, my husband is, people always laugh when I say he's an introvert, because he doesn't seem very introverted at all. And we invite people to our house all the time, and he makes like meals for them. But one of the main reasons is the things we want to make. Like the ingredient, like, you can't just buy a thing. Like, you can't buy a sprig of kale. Like, you buy a fucking pound of it.
Of garlic.
Exactly. And it's like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to buy all this shit, and we're going to make a bunch of stuff. And like, people are going to think we're such wonderful hosts and hostesses. But no, we're not wasting shit. And now we get to eat the food. But that's actually a huge thing in terms of you get
good ingredients.
It's good ingredients. And so the funniest thing is that this one towards the left of me has been getting me to, like, you need to get on the Hellofresh bandwagon. Come on now. And I have been dragging my feet because I really, I don't really cook. Like, I've got about like 5 or 6 dishes that I can make, and most of them are pretty freaking easy, like very easy pasta dinners or what have you. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And I teach till late, and then there's podcasting. I'm never home enough, blah, blah, blah. I finally bit the bullet and was like, you know what? I've been researching all this stuff. I should go ahead and do it. I took her little promo thing for like free meals and signed up. And the funniest thing is like, another one of the reasons why I didn't get into it was because my husband is hyper picky, and again, codependent.
I feel like even that's an understatement.
Yeah, it really, like, it's easier to just mark the things he likes than to say the things he doesn't like, because it's a very, like, he's a carnivore who likes maybe 3 vegetables, and that's it. No garnishes. Like, you put a pickle on his plate and forget about it the entire meal. Like, which I kind of get. If you don't like pickle and they put a pickle slice on your plate and he gets the juices onto the thing, I get it. But he's a very picky human being, and it's lucky that he married such a universal eater, because it really is whatever you want, you're guaranteed to have a wife who is going to enjoy it. If I was even a little bit picky, we'd never have the same meal together, ever. And again, codependent, I don't want to make something if I can't share it with my husband. But I actually found some meals where I was like, oh, actually, here's like a steak and potato-y dish, and here's a chicken and potato-y dish, and I'll just, I'll eat the asparagus, and I'll eat the broccoli, and I'll have all the garnishes, and we'll just give him the more, like, the literal meat and potatoes. So there is things that can work out, even for somebody who's a little more on the picky side. So again, like, is this for you? If you are somebody who's cooking for a huge family and you are buying, these things that you'll use up all the ingredients, go right ahead. I am singing its praises, but I do recognize it's not going to be for everybody.
Well, the price does go down when you do it for a larger group.
That is true. It does go down.
So if it's like for a family, the price does go down.
It does drop down. For Hellofresh, it's $8.74 for a serving of 4. Blue Apron, $8.99. Plated, $9.99. I didn't get other ones like Sunbasket or Martha Stewart, because I was like, I'm stopping at 3, bitch. Because I'm a lazy researcher. I am terrible. This is why I never.
Samesies.
What's up? This is why I'm not in grad school. Like, my dissertation would be shit. Like, it would be a Wikipedia article. Yep. So this is something actually my mother-in-law, and I have to chuckle with myself because I've been talking about my in-laws all day, including the video we did for the cooking. I've just been talking about my in-laws nonstop, but they actually do the meal service as well. They'll kind of do more of a start and stop type of deal. Like, they'll start up a week and then they'll pause it and then start it up. Which is not a bad way to be. I like that you can pause it. I like that you're not like, shit, it's just piling up, but I can't keep up. Like, that's.
Yeah, I'll pause it for weeks. I've definitely paused it for like a month at a time. You just like, you get an email, time to pick your meals, and if you're like, I'm not gonna be home, I'll pause it. Or if I'm like, I don't have money, I'm gonna eat rice for
I'm
the next
poor.
week, pause it.
Which is pretty baller. Like, I love that. Like, I'm always nervous about subscription services because I'm like, oh, what hoops am I going to jump through? Am I going to deal with Comcast level of customer service to, like, cancel this or pause this? But no, like, a lot of them are really cool about it. They'll just like, no, pause it, whatever. So what they'll do is to kind of combat what I call meal fatigue, which is like when you're just like, I don't even fucking know what to make anymore, man. I just, they will do the, like, I don't know if they do HelloFresh, but they do some type of meal delivery service. And they'll try out meals, and the ones they like, they will save the recipes. Yeah, and then they'll just buy the ingredients themselves. So that's, if you are trying to combat meal fatigue, that might actually be a nice way to go about it. And again, this really does sound like a commercial for HelloFresh, but like, as somebody who has just converted over, it really can help, especially for those like myself who don't really cook, who are not creative in the kitchen, who, if left to their own devices, they'll be like, oh, okay, I guess I'll reheat this leftover chicken, and maybe, here's some like leftovers from like this doggy bag from a restaurant. I'll combine the two. Fine, it's good enough. I don't care. Like, too universal for my own good and too lazy for my own good. So those ready-to-cook meals, that could be a really good option. So I'm going to now shift it over to the Ashley.
Well, I'll just like add on to that. So that's just like ways to approach dinner if you just don't know what to do, because not everyone's a cook, and that's not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. I had an arrangement with one of my good friends, Brittany, that she didn't cook. If she did cook, she would do, it was like a Bertolli bag. And for me, I was like, it's food. The fact that she was cooking, I was like, great. Mm-hmm. But I love to cook, and she liked to eat. So we had a sort of deal. So she would come over, or I'd go over there. I'd cook for us both, and she would read to me as I cooked. We'd drink wine,
romantic.
she'd read to me, and I'd cook.
Please tell me there were some candles lit and like soft music playing, because this is beautiful, man.
Well, after that, then we would binge watch some show, and she's very intense about making sure that, like, if you're watching something that she recommended, that you're watching it. And I fall asleep easily.
Yep.
So a compromise, she would massage my shoulders, because my shoulders are always tight because huge titties or a lot of weight on your shoulders. She would massage my shoulders to keep me awake, so I'd watch the show. Usually it's Supernatural.
Nice.
But yeah, I think it's just like finding happy mediums. If you don't cook, but you have a friend who does, or partner, or whatever, do something to help. Like, learn to do prep work. Or if not, read to them. Or like talk to them while they cook, so you're contributing in some way, or you can wash the dishes.
Right.
It's just like finding what works for you. Or if you're single and you don't cook, the HelloFresh things are pretty simple to go by. And then I forget, there's one that people do that they have pre-made smoothies. I feel like I should have. My best friend Sally has been doing it, and she's been really liking those like pre-made smoothie, and they have all these sort of pre-made stuff. There's lots of healthy options out there. And there's really foolproof cooking if you're not even a cook, like a slow cooker. You can just throw a bunch of shit into a slow cooker, done. You put it in before you go to work, come home, you got a stew,
Right.
or soup.
And it's hard to go wrong with a slow cooker. Like, the only way you can go wrong with a slow cooker is if you put it on high and you fucking forget that you had put it. Like, that's the only time. And that's happened to me.
Do it on low.
Exactly. Like, default to low. I've unfortunately had it on high, forgot I had it on high. And yeah, that's a whole other story where I scrubbed at that bitch for hours upon hours. And I kid you not, and it was because my hands were getting fatigued and like numbed by the hot water. It slipped out of my hands and into the sink. And now, mind you, 2 fucking inches into the sink, and it, like, the corner just cracked off.
No.
And my
It was
poor
the temperature change.
it must have been. And my poor husband, he walked into the kitchen and just saw me, like, hands on my face, like I was done.
Oh, man.
Like, But it was all good. We got another crock pot, or actually, no, we had another crock pot because we got like multiples for our wedding, and I was like, oh, whatever, trade out. But yeah, that was a fun time. 2 fucking hours cleaning that bitch, and it was all for naught.
Should have used an SOS scrub.
Right. But that's for another podcast, or actually a previous one. Listen to one of our old shits. Come on.
So we've talked about like different ways to approach it, but first of all, you need to know how to approach food storage.
Mm-hmm.
I find friends and acquaintances very intelligent people. This doesn't make you dumb. These are very just. There's something I learned when I was doing my research that I didn't even know about how to store your produce correctly. So, first, tomatoes. Time and time again, so many of my friends, in fact, one of my friends today, Katie, I thought for sure she would know about how to store your tomatoes because she's in the food industry. She works in the restaurant industry, and she didn't even know. And I know she's a good cook. So you should never store your tomatoes in the fridge. So in a nutshell, when tomatoes are kept at fridge temperatures, it turns your tomatoes bland and eventually mushy. And they get mushier quick. And they're just gross at that point. So in an article on Gizmodo, it says, new research published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Science shows that the practice of chilling tomatoes below 54 degrees Fahrenheit, 12 degrees Celsius for all of our international listeners, it inhibits their ability to generate substances that contribute to aroma and flavor. The study, conducted by researchers from the University of Florida, Cornell University, and several other institutions, explain why commercial tomatoes, which are often preserved in low temperature storage, tend to be bland. The reason for the lack of flavor has to do with the way that cold temperatures reduce the functionality of several genes associated with the production, blah, blah, blah. It changes the chemical composition of the tomatoes and ends up being gross.
Blech.
Another thing, so the thing I was talking about that I learned today, cucumbers. Cucumbers are another thing that don't want to be cold.
I genuinely did not know that.
I've literally been doing this wrong my entire life.
Ditto. Shit, man.
And I find that cucumbers go bad so quickly, and I'm just like, I just bought this. So cucumbers are technically fruit because they have the seeds.
The seeds.
According to Washington Post, anything below 50 degrees will cause them to spoil faster, according to researchers at the University of California at Davis. If you must refrigerate them, do not do it for more than 3 days. Cucumbers are also sensitive to ethylene gas, so you want to keep them away from bananas, melons, tomatoes, and apples. So, potatoes. Potatoes,
Boil 'em.
potatoes,
Boil them, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew.
Boil 'em,
mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew.
Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew.
Potatoes,
Boil 'em, mash 'em, boil 'em, boil 'em, mash 'em, boil 'em, boil 'em.
If you don't know what that meme is, just
That's an
go
old
away.
school meme, man.
Old school
Woo.
meme. Lord of the Rings, y'all. So, countless times I see people store onions and potatoes together. You should not. So the onions will make the potatoes sprout faster, essentially making them go bad faster. I think it was either Stuff to Blow Your Mind podcast or it was one of the podcasts from howthingswork.com. Potatoes, you should not eat them once they have sprouts on them or it has green underneath. It's toxic. It's not. You're taking a big risk with it of getting poisoned.
That is really good to know because I've definitely done that.
As soon as the potato, I've definitely done it. I'm like, fuck it. Yeah, once the potatoes are sprouting, throw them away. It's not because there's it's toxic now. There's poison in there. It's small levels, I believe, but check it out. How stuff work. How thing.
The website, y'all. Like
Pat,
that
put
thing.
it up on the video. Howstuffworks.com. That's yes. Howstuffworks.com. You can search potatoes and find which podcasts cover that. Anyway, so you don't want to put potatoes in the refrigerator. The cold, damp air in the refrigerator causes their starches to turn into sugars, which can affect their taste and texture. You want to store them in a paper bag, more breathable than plastic, in a coolish spot such as a pantry. You want to keep them away from onions or fruits like apples that exude ethylene gas, which can make your spuds begin to sprout. Speaking of ethylene gas, I know Abby, you can definitely chime in for this as well. There are times that gas can be your friend. If you want something to ripen quicker, for example, an avocado, you can store one of the following fruits in a paper bag, and the ethylene gas it emits will help speed up the process. Apples, apricots, actually, no. Fucking avocados aren't emitting that much. Anyway. Ripe bananas, blueberries, cantaloupe, cherimoyas? What the fuck is that? Cranberry. Obviously, I proofread my notes. Cranberries, figs, green onions, guavas, grapes, honeydew, kiwi fruit, mangoes, mangosteen, nectarines, blah, blah, blah. Passion fruit, peaches, pears, persimmons, plums, potatoes, prunes,
Quince, yeah.
I don't know.
I'm starting to look at your notes, y'all. I
And
know it says no
tomatoes.
peeking, but
That being said, you should be careful with fruit and vegetables and not store them together because it's going to make your vegetables go bad quickly. So I know hands down when I want to ripen an avocado quickly, I will put it in a bag with an apple and keep it in there until it ripens, and it'll ripen a lot faster.
yep.
So if, say, avocados are on sale and, you know, avocados aren't sale often, I'll buy a bunch of them. And if I know I'm going to have company over, I'll just stick them in a bag and it'll ripen by the time the weekend comes.
Boom.
Yeah. I know you had something else to add about apples and ethylene gas.
Yep, and it was basically, you know, you if you want to ripen something quickly, you put it in a bag with something like an apple because of the ethylene gas. So those who don't know what ethylene is, it's a natural plant hormone that sets off the ripening process. And when it comes to ethylene, it naturally occurs. And then I found this out about bananas, especially the commercial bananas that get trucked a million miles so we can eat them in the middle of fucking November. Bananas have to, you know, they have to travel a long distance before they arrive on our shelves. They are usually harvested when they're unripe. They're still green, so they can go, they can travel those thousands of miles. They're going the distance. Dun-dun, dun-dun. Okay. And it won't affect them. They won't go bad. And then what they'll do is once they reach the shops, they are then artificially ripened by exposure to ethylene gas. So if you want to do that on a more smaller scale, you just grab something like a banana or like an apple that will emit the ethylene gas. If you have ethylene gas like the big supermarket people right on you, like I'm a little worried why you have that, but do it. Sure, have fun. If you don't have that, you can do something like add a certain fruit that will help speed that shit along. and that is that for me.
All right. So herbs. You should treat your herbs like cilantro and parsley like flowers when you're storing them. So the best way to store it and keep it fresh is in a glass of water. You can loosely cover it with plastic wrap, or I'll get a plastic shopping bag and kind of put that over that, and you put it in the fridge. Or if you're a kitchen gadget fanatic, like I am, I don't remember, it wasn't terribly expensive. So you can buy it on Amazon, and it's a tall sort of container, and it has a little basket so that it can lower the stems into the water, but when you need to do it, you pull the lid and it'll pull up the parsley and cilantro for you to grab from.
That's nifty.
So that's another way. And as with a bouquet of flowers, you want to change the water regularly because otherwise it will spoil quickly. Last but not least with storage for food or produce, salad greens. So once you open that bag of salad or salad greens, you may notice it gets wilty and gross fast as fuck. So what you can do is you can get a long strip of paper towels and kind of tuck it around the greens, and that will absorb a lot of the moisture and it'll keep it crisp and it'll keep it fresh a lot longer. And I've definitely used that and find that it's definitely a tried and true sort of life hack.
Nice. You know, I feel like I've done that myself from time to time when I'm not being lazy and just put the bag in the damn fresh air, and then all of a sudden I'm like, why is this half molty? Like, this sucks.
What else do you got to teach us about Oh Wise Abby?
The wise one over here. I think I'll just continue when it comes to the very sexy topic of food storage, y'all. And I'm going to talk about cheese. Like, that's some sexy shit right there. So,
I love it. It don't love me.
it is tough when you're lactose intolerant. We're going to pour a little out for our homies who are lactose intolerant.
YOLO.
I apologize because, I mean, dairy products are wonderful and dairy substitutes, let's be real, they're not the real, like, they're not the same. They don't meet the same standards. They're not of the same caliber. So cheese. We love cheese, and then cheese gets moldy and it sucks. So when it comes to storing cheese, first thing to note is that I'm going to be talking about like the hard cheeses first. I'm going to talk about when it gets hard. Soft cheese, fresh cheese, that has its own little category. We'll talk about that in a split second. But this is about that hard stuff, all right? So to help
that crack cheese.
right? And let's be real, it does affect you like crack. If I remember correctly, it hits your brain the same way drugs do.
Yeah, there's some sort of chemical in the cow's milk to make the calf want it more, to get them to keep having it or something. And
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Like, I remember that article talking about it. It hits the pleasure centers of our brain the same way if we were taking some, like, pretty hard drugs. And that really will explain why I'm just like, I'm going to put my hand into this shredded cheese and then eat the handful. I don't even care if it was going to go with a meal. Just mozzarella face.
3 a.m.
Right.
Mozzarella face.
There are so many memes that help wonderfully illustrate that experience, because let's be real, like, that's a universal experience.
You think of that creepy ghost meme?
I think so, where it's
We'll have
like,
to share it.
like cheese in the fridge at 3 a.m. or something like
It's
that.
like some scary like ghost figure. We'll share it on our Facebook.
Oh yeah, we're gonna find this shit. It's gonna
For
be
sure.
I feel like that's gonna be an easy meme to track down.
Yes.
But anyways, if you have the, like a block of hard cheese and you don't want it to mold, one thing you can do is you can wrap it in a vinegar-soaked cloth. They recommend the cheesecloth, like, surprise, surprise, they recommend cheesecloth as the best cloth. But if you don't have that, you could also do something like a paper towel and put vinegar on it. And you just put it into the fridge. You put it into a relatively airtight container. You don't want to wrap it up tightly in cellophane or cling wrap or anything like that, because it's actually going to suffocate the flavor.
I've been doing that forever.
Oh, ditto on that. Ditto for me as well. There's a lot of stuff that I've been doing wrong, and now I am learning because of this podcast. Like, y'all think this is just for you guys and educational stuff just for you. Like, no, we're learning some stuff, and we're like, wow, we're doing adulting all wrong. I mean, we already knew we were doing adulting wrong, but now we have, like, empirical facts.
We have a whole podcast dedicated to being like, yeah, why
exactly. Like, this is just like, let me break it down in with data about how we're doing it all wrong. So, because I was in the same boat myself. I would just wrap it up pretty tightly with cling wrap, but it's actually really not good because it will suffocate the flavor, and it's kind of like tomatoes in the fridge. Like, it's you're gonna kind of kill what you bought in the first place. So if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to do the vinegar soaked cloth, and surprisingly, this doesn't change the flavor. Like everything that I researched in this said it doesn't change the flavor. They didn't give me scientific reasons why, and that kind of made me a little itchy because give me something, you know, tell me
science.
Right? Oh man, you got a little bit more of that science. But like, give me something. I might not even understand it. Like, it might be total bullshit. Like, here, we're gonna throw this like polysyllabic word at you and be like, that's the reason why. And I'll be like, okay, that's good. I believe you, but at least give me something. But everything basically said it won't change the flavor. Trust me. But if you really don't want to do that, you can also just take it out of its wrapping and put it in wax paper, and then put it into a relatively airtight container. The key here is you don't want it to be something like cling wrap. Like, you can put it in like a Tupperware container or what have you. There's still air in it. And then this is assuming that you are going to eventually take it out, lift off the lid, take some cheese, bring it back, or put it back in the container. So that is what we can do for hard cheese. Soft cheese is a little bit different. Soft cheese and fresh cheese is gonna go bad faster. There's really no other way around that. You have to eat it a little quicker than you would your hard cheeses. And ironically, you want to keep it in its original packaging. So with the hard cheese, you want to take it out of its packaging immediately and put it into something else. Soft cheese, they actually recommend to keep it in its original container. Now, why is this the case? I'm actually not sure. I couldn't find, again, the hard facts, and I just realized I never explained why vinegar doesn't kills the mold or doesn't make it do mold. It's the acetic acid in the vinegar. It prevents the growth of mold. So there we go. We got a little polysyllabic word thrown at you guys. When it comes to your cheese, whether it is the hard cheese or the soft cheese, they recommend putting it in your vegetable drawer in your fridge. So it's not too hot, it's not too cold. You know, you got a little Goldilocks thing going on. It's just right. But if you're like me, none of this fucking matters because your cheese lasts about a day.
Okay, thank you. I was just about to say that fucking thing. To be like, you know what? If you need to worry about any of this, you're doing cheese wrong.
Right? Like, cheese does not last in this. Like, we get like the big ass, like Costco sized bags of shredded cheese gone in a week. We'll get like a big ass, sometimes we'll get a full on wheel of brie, especially if we were like having people over.
Yes.
Yeah, fucking done. Like,
Done.
especially
In a day.
gone.
Maybe two.
Right? And you feel fancy when you eat brie. Like, I'm gonna put this soft cheese on a
Fortune
cracker.
cheese?
Ooh, yeah. Like,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Like, I am
Sorry.
sorry, not sorry, hashtag, but I'm genuinely surprised that I'm not 500 pounds because my diet is 50% cheese. It's ridiculous.
Well, your exercise is...
That's true. I'm a yoga instructor, and I went hiking for my vacation, and even the beach parts, I was like, I'm gonna fly out and fucking beach wave surf. But that's it for me, and now I'm gonna throw it on back to Ashley and her mad wisdom.
All right. So, washing food. Don't wash your fucking chicken.
Don't wash it, kid.
Don't wash your fucking chicken, kid. I'm serious. So all you're doing when you're running your chicken under the faucet is you're spreading bacteria all over your sink, yourself, the cat, the counter, the other food that you're cooking. And how often are you disinfecting your sink? Yeah.
Never.
So the USDA agrees. They don't recommend washing chicken or any raw meat for that matter, reinforcing the argument that bacteria in raw meat and poultry juices can be spread to other surfaces, utensils, and even foods, leading to cross-contamination. The only way to safely kill bacteria in chicken is to cook it, not wash it. If you're cooking your chicken at a certain temperature, and of course, anytime you take out your chicken from cooking, you want to check the temperature to make sure that it got to the appropriate temperature. Otherwise, you need to put it back in until it reaches that entire temp. I think it's 165. I don't know.
It sounds right,
Yeah.
but verify
Google
on that
it.
one, guys.
You got if you're finding this, you have internet access, so you know how to do it. So that is the best way to get rid of bacteria, is to make sure you're cooking it to appropriate temperatures. So you know what else you shouldn't wash? Shrooms, mushrooms. So when you wash mushrooms underwater, with water or whatever, mushrooms are very porous and absorbent. So they're going to take in all that extra moisture. And even if you're quote unquote drying the mushrooms after quote unquote washing it, you're going to get soggy mushrooms and it's going to get kind of bland, and you're not going to be able to get that golden brown color from mushrooms from cooking them. The best way to clean the mushrooms when you're cooking it is to get a paper towel and to brush off the dirt. I generally, when I'm doing it, I kind of brush off a single layer around the mushroom, and you want to make sure that you're getting underneath the mushroom into the little crevices where it collects. Is there like a bug behind me, Adam?
Oh yeah, I was just
Staring
walking.
behind
I'm staring at the wall, man. I'm on some shrooms myself. Woo! No, there's like some type of bug, and I'm like, if it gets near me, I'm gonna smack the shit out of it. Ooh, so shiny.
Yeah, so don't wash your mushrooms. You want to brush it with paper towels. Another time not to wash your produce is after you've gone grocery shopping.
Chirping, maybe.
Chirping. So you go grocery shopping and you come home. If you are not going to eat some produce, you don't need to wash it. Put it in its respective places for storage, whether it's in the counter or in paper bags or in a cool place or the fridge or whatever. You don't want to wash them unless you're ready to use, because that moisture, that dampness is going to encourage bacteria growth and it's going to make the produce spoil faster. So don't wash your produce until you're ready to use it. That's it for washing stuff. Anything else, Abby?
I think that is it. I mean, I know this was more storage and washing than it was a cooking episode, and I guess storage, washing, and have people send shit to you to cook, but I mean, that's kind of the those are the kickers. Can you prep the food you're gonna cook? Can you make sure it's not spoiled? Because holy fucking shit, it's gonna suck if it's spoiled. And then figuring out what works for you. I think that's the biggest one. If you take nothing else away other than don't wash your fucking chicken, because holy shit, germs everywhere.
Everywhere.
On your cat, on your cow, if you have a cow, just no.
On your cow.
I was just thinking of dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow. Now germs on you, germs on your cow.
Your family.
Right? Just germs everywhere. If you get nothing else, then just recognizing, figure out what works for you. If you're not a cook type of person, but you are living with somebody who does, and you can figure out a nice arrangement, awesome. If you don't really cook, but certain meals work for you, or the ready-made meals work, or maybe all you need is to put on a good TV show, and that's going to motivate you. Awesome. I mean,
that's what so for me, my jam, I love cooking. Even if I've had a long day, I'll come home and that's my winding down time is cooking. But I'll always set up my laptop or my iPad when the battery's not dead. Oh. And I'll put on a show or a movie and, have that going while I'm cooking myself dinner. Because me and, my boyfriend, we cook dinner separate from each other most of the time. He likes what he likes and he's not picky or anything. But he's pretty self-sufficient and he's fine with cooking himself dinner. And I like to go a little more bougie, as you might say, and a little fancier. He's a meat and potatoes kind of guy, very Ron Swanson. But I'm okay because it, especially if it's a Hellofresh meal, it's for two people, which means I got dinner and I got lunch for the next day. I was going somewhere with that.
TV shows and
motivation. Yeah. So I like to watch shows while I do that, and I highly recommend doing that. But pay attention. I definitely was not paying attention while chopping lettuce. I was making tacos and I was chopping lettuce and was watching Buffy. And I chopped my finger. But I think it was more probably I was having terrible knife etiquette. if you keep fresh stuff in your house, one thing that might happen, especially during the summer, although knock on wood, it hasn't been an issue. Fruit flies.
Yep.
Fucking assholes.
They really
of
are.
Satan.
Oh, you wonder if you pissed off God with the like, it's a locust. Ah! Yeah, it's terrible.
So there are countless sort of things, but like the easiest way is to get a small little bowl or a little cup, fill it with apple cider vinegar, and then super important is you gotta put a couple drops of dishwashing liquid because it breaks up the surface of the apple cider vinegar and makes the gnats, the fruit flies, sink to the bottom so that they can't get up.
There you go.
And I've seen things like you put plastic wrap and you poke holes in the top, but it works with the dishwashing liquid. You don't need to do the plastic wrap. You can buy lots of other things, but it's fucking cheap. I don't like the smell of apple cider vinegar, and I hate it, but it kills the fruit flies. And, you know,
And if
tester approved.
right? And this is one I learned by my just by accident. If the apple cider thing doesn't really work for you, but you're kind of a champagne drinker, what you can do is make sure that you leave about a centimeter or so, or even less than that, like just basically a little skim of that champagne in the
That's
bottle.
blasphemous.
I
But I
know.
get it.
Where it's kind of like pouring one out for your homies,
Yeah,
but
so
leaving one
for the
in
dead
for the
homies.
murder. Yeah. Murder. But if you leave that out on your counter, it will attract the fruit flies.
The fruit fly.
The fruit fly. Those are the fruit flies for
tuba
those.
ones.
Yeah. Those must
They're
be really
pretentious.
big and
The tuba
bellows
flies
and
are
yeah.
very pretentious, full of themselves.
Anyway, if you leave that out on your counter, they're gonna go into the bottle. They're gonna try to drink up the champagne, and they're gonna drown and die. I learned that.
Worth it. YOLO. Yo, you wanna get some of that champagne? Yeah, girl, I'm all about that. Oh, wait, fuck. I'm too drunk to get out this bottle. That's okay. I was only gonna live like 2 days anyway.
Man, this club is lit.
Champagne club.
So I tried to actually look this up to see if there was any like other websites that said this. I found literally one other site, and it wasn't even a site. It was a discussion board post
Like
from
Reddit?
Yeah, basically like Reddit by the username of Led Zepp Rules.
Oh my
Like,
God.
And if you by some like miracle hear this podcast, I love that you figured this out the same way I did. Like complete accident, left champagne out, and then the next day was like, fucking A, it looks like, you know, after the Titanic sank under this bitch. Like, I know, let's take a moment, like, you're here, there's nothing I fear.
Oh, I was just gonna hum the song.
That was almost like what was that instrument thingy, that thing.
That is the thing.
That was beautiful though. My heart broke and then it did go on. But yeah, that was my little adding. If you have champagne and you've got issues with fruit flies, which I constantly do myself, hey, now you have an option. You can do the apple cider route, or you can leave out some champagne. And if the
Force him off of those
Right.
dead gnat homies.
for the murder of those gnats, because fuck them.
Murder!
Because they're terrible, and it really makes you think like you punish, like God is punishing you. Like every
Yep.
time you open your trash can and they fly in your face, and you're like, I'm done. I hate life.
So that is all we got on cooking. Don't forget, we have a Patreon account if you want to donate to us, whether it's
Right.
$1, whether it's $1,
$1,
$20,
$1 million.
$10. Yeah, whatever. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
You want to give me what you want? I'll take it.
Right? I mean, we're poor people. This is we do this because it's fun. It's truly out of pocket expenses, and the Patreon is not going to make us rich unless you are the $1 million donor. If in that case, we love you, and
You're
like
doing a really big dare.
right, like holy shit, like I don't even know if that whole like within reasonable parameters
I'll
is
do
there.
it.
Like
Abby will. I will.
there we go. I mean, we all have our price. price. Let's be real here. But let's be real. Like the Patreon is there just to help offset
Yes,
costs.
please.
We're not going to be rich over it.
Yes. Also, please feel free to email us. Cheers to adulting@gmail.com. If you have questions, comments, any topics
Good.
you want us to cover.
Some Tampax.
Oh, gross. Follow us on our social media. We got
Right.
Facebook.
We got Instagram.
We got Twitter that
Right.
we almost never use.
We really don't.
And I'm not a Twitter person. I feel like I
It's-
need to leave the Twittering to you.
Yeah, and even then, like my own Twittering, like 90% of my own Twittering is just the refeeding of my Instagram, and I feel really bad because I used to make like witty comments on my own Instagram or on my own Twitter, and now it's really just like, hey, check out this picture of this like Ariel Silks thing that I did on Instagram, y'all. Like, but still, it's still there, and we will grow it. And if you follow us, I will start making some witty shit on that page too. Okay?
Do it,
Right.
please. If you're even if you're not, on iTunes, rate, review. If you subscribe wherever,
Right.
but rating us on iTunes helps us, gets us out there, makes us more accessible. Thank you to all of our international listeners.
For
We got
real.
people in Korea now.
That is
Got a
baller.
listener in Israel.
Like seriously, this is like every time we have somebody who is not a friend or family member listening, like our little hearts flutter because it's like, wow, like this person who has no emotional connection to us decided to like check us out, even if it's like for a minute. Thank you, like
I
awesome.
can't believe we have over 100 listeners.
Holy shit! I don't even have 100 friends. Like I don't even know what 100 people. Fuck it, I'm not even 100 friends. Like I don't even know 100 people
And like
well.
barely, like I feel they're more strangers than they are friends because time and time again I'll come across a friend, hey, I haven't seen you forever. They're like, oh, how's your podcast? I haven't listened to you yet. Sorry. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's fine.
That's
You'll
usually
get to it.
That's usually what happens if you're an artist and you're like, friends support me. You will get some who do and they're wonderful and you love them forever, but like the vast majority of your friends are like, I heard you're doing that thing. It's awesome in theory. I have done bupkiss to support you.
And of course, we do have a website now, thanks to Vern. We still need to fill it with info, but if you want to look
details.
up Cheers to Adulting, you'll find our website.
Right?
And on that note, toast.
Toast.
Gambe.
Gambe. Cheers, baby.
Cheers
To adulting.
to adulting.
Cheers to adulting.